Okay, I'm just going to talk a little bit about some stuff I was thinking about, stuff I'm working on recently. So, this is kind of where I'm at with Samurai Showdown 2. Um, so basically, I started by copying the Final Fight project, and I've essentially just been editing it, down from there. Um, but I just kind of want to talk about just kind of what I'm thinking, what the plan is for this. Um, so basically, you can see that in the distant background there, um, I I took some of the background mountains from Samurai Shodown 1 from Harumaru's stage, and changed the palette of them to match the palette of the mountains in this background, and then got that in there to fill in the gaps. And I did some fucking insane shit with the ocean. Basically, in the original game, you just couldn't like see all of the ocean there like this, and so I actually wrote a program that basically went through and basically overlapped matching sections of images where I had high confidence that the pixels were the same, until I was able to fill in pretty much all of the gaps that were left in there. And you can see that what I have here, it's pretty seamless. And so now I have an infinitely tileable stage ocean graphic here. Yeah, also of course it's unlocked refresh rate, unlocked aspect ratio. I know it's kind of fucking hilarious seeing Eddie standing there. It's because, just for whatever reason, when I opened the project and started working on it, I just happened to be in the code for the West Side stage, and so when I started doing this stage in this game, it just happened to be there. I have started hooking up a lot of the camera stuff, so you'll notice basically like the zoom is there. And it's basically a full resolution zoom. Internally, this basically runs at double the Neo Geo's resolution, and so internally it's running at 640 by 448, and and it gives you that really nice zoom, that you can see there. And the thing that's nice too is that, so basically, like I of course want it to be better than the original game, and so I'm trying to make things a little bit more robust. And so for testing, I'm actually just kind of using Final Fight to kind of test different stuff with the camera, because basically, if the code is robust enough to handle zooming with a beat 'em up, it's more than robust enough to handle a one-on-one fighting game. The thing is, something that I want to just kind of talk about a little bit is one-on-one fighting games are incredibly simple. Like basically so far, for the most part, all I've really been doing is deleting code. Because basically, they're one-on-one fighting games are essentially just a subset of a beat 'em up. They're truly two-dimensional. They don't have any z-axis to worry about. And so, like a lot of that stuff can be, grossly simplified without really losing anything. And even stuff, if you think about it, like the energy bars, right? Like consider the energy bars. In Final Fight, the energy bars are fully dynamic. You know, you can actually configure how many players you want it to be. You know, you can basically choose between 1 and 10 players. And so, but in this game, it's always 2. So all of that code for energy bars and things basically just goes away, and you're just always rendering 2 energy bars. You know, like I said, it's just, you know, it's super simple. Yeah, I mean, and I mean, even stuff like animation for energy bars. I mean, like, you know, consider the fact that, like, okay, so in Final Fight, energy bars scroll in from the left and right, you know, sides of the screen, right? In the original game, there were only 2 energy bars, and so player 1 scrolled in from the left, player 2 scrolled in from the right. In my version, you know, the way I did it, I actually, you know, have some additional logic in there where if you have an odd number of players, like if you have 3 players or 5 players or 1 player or 7 players or, you know, 9 players, it actually knows to make the center energy bar scroll in from the top, so everything is, you know, balanced and centered. I mean, and that's what I'm saying. Just like all that kind of complexity, it just all goes away with the one-on-one fighting game. Like there's just nothing to it. They're so fucking simple, man. And other stuff too to consider is, you know, like I mean the basic theme is essentially in a one-on-one fighting game, everything is fixed, everything is static. In a beat 'em up, everything is variable. You know, you can have a variable number of enemies, a variable number of objects running around, a variable number of things happening. In a one-on-one fighting game, it's just always pretty much a set number of things. You know, you're always going to basically have 2 primary objects. You know, with the rest of the things just being kind of window dressing. You know, whereas in a beat 'em up, I mean, you can just have an arbitrary number of anything. Yeah. Also, notice like on the camera how, because I'm at the end of the stage now, when I zoom in, the zooming is fixed relative to the end of the stage. And see how, like, if I change the zooming, you know, see how it basically adjusts, you know, to keep the you know, the camera centered on the you know, like the edge of the screen there. And so the only thing really, like for the camera that's left to implement is currently, you know, like the camera controls that I have hooked up are just kind of like I can just, you know, manually control them, and they're forced, you know, like there's no logic saying like no you can't do a camera zoom or zoom out right now. And so the last piece of the puzzle there is just to, you know, like once I actually, you know, get the Z-axis shit out of there and, you know, get rid of the Final Fight characters and start hooking up, you know, the actual Samurai Shodown 2 characters, you know, I'm going to put in the logic to say like, okay, you can only do a zoom when the characters are in positions where, you know, zooming out or zooming in, you know, will keep them, you know, in the camera, you know, that kind of stuff. But that's like really simple stuff though. And so, yeah, I mean, so basically, I guess what I'm saying, long story short, is that the only real challenge of this is wrangling the art assets. You know, like figuring out how do you get all, you know, like how do you take shit that basically, you know, wasn't tileable and make it infinitely expandable. And yeah, so that's basically, you know. You like the trick with this. I mean, the thing is, like, this stage was a fucking nightmare to do. Like, it was crazy. I mean, it was a shitload of work. Oh yeah. Check this out. See, notice how, like, if I knock back Eddie here, see how he bounces off of the wall because this is where it's zoomed in. But notice how if I knock him back and then zoom out, see how basically it you know, the calculation, it knows that it's always, you know, taking the wall of the screen relative to how it's been zoomed, and so that code is basically already in there, you know, which is nice. You see, like if I zoom it out, like it basically, like he can keep going back farther because now the edge of the camera has essentially been moved back. So Yeah, it's. I think it's looking pretty good. Yeah, even like you see like the wave crashes. It's been randomized, and basically like every time it loads the stage, it's going to change. And essentially, there's a little little piece of code there that can basically determine like the random position of the waves to set. Or even changing, like, is it a small crash or is it a large crash? So yeah, I mean, I think it actually looks pretty fucking beautiful. I mean, I think once I actually have the Samurai Showdown 2 characters plugged in there, it's gonna look pretty fucking amazing. But I will say this though, I mean, Jesus, man, if every stage was as much work as this to get going, I'm gonna be fully fucking bald before this game is done because like I said, I'm not afraid of programming things. Programming's easy. Like these games are so fucking simple. It's nothing. But like doing all of the art asset manipulation. I mean, like I haven't even gone into it, but like I said, you have no idea the fucking BDSM bullshit I went through to actually get the art into this state. It's no fucking joke, man. Yeah, it's actually pretty fucking insane. I mean, even like see the rocks, like the repeating rock pattern. It's actually like a mixture of the Samurai Showdown 1 and Samurai Showdown 2 rocks, and I actually corrected some some tile errors and some miscellaneous errors that were in the original games. It's just this was fucking insane, man. I mean, seriously. But I guess this is what I'm kind of thinking. Worst case scenario, let's just say that I hit some brick wall. Let's just say that I get to a point where it's like, fuck, I just can't do this stage. Like that, like the data just isn't fucking there. I can't do it. I mean, if it gets to that point, if nothing else, at least we'll have a proof of concept. At least we'll be able to say this is what Samurai Showdown 2, could have looked like. Full resolution zoom, unlocked refresh rate, unlocked aspect ratio. If nothing else, I guess it's a cool little demo for that. But I am really committed to this. I mean, I will say this: Samurai Showdown 2 might be my single most beloved game. I don't know if there's a game I like more than Samurai Showdown 2, and so this game is sacred to me. Every pixel in this game is fucking precious to me. The continue stage is fucked up because of some shit I did. But yeah, I mean, so that's where I'm at. This is kind of what I'm thinking. I mean, basically, like I essentially have written the programs to extract the original sprite tile data from the ROMs with the correct palettes. That's actually kind of another interesting point is other than MAME, basically every single Neo Geo emulator has like really shitty palettes. Like they're not even close to accurate. And so I'm using MAME's palettes basically. It's going to be the colors that match MAME. And but in any case, so I kind of have a pipeline set up to work. So like a lot of that kind of initial BDSM has been taken care of, and so like the future work should go faster than this, and a lot of my effort was really just kind of spent on just I did a lot of thinking about this. A lot of it was just like, how am I going to do this? Like how, like what's my strategy basically? For both getting the art in, for doing all this stuff. I mean, there's a lot to say about it. I mean, like just like as an example. So something that almost like every shitty fan game gets wrong, that you'll notice is that, basically like what most of them do is they just take screenshots from emulators, and then they cobble that together. But the thing is, you can't really take screenshots from emulators if you want to get it right, because like, okay, so say it's like a jumping animation. Let's say that you're doing, Haomaru and you want to get his jumping animation. Well, if you just jump in the game while you're playing it and then you take screenshots, you have a problem because his Y velocity is changing at the same time his animation frames are switching from one to another. So how do you know that the offset of his sprite isn't the actual offset of the sprite and is actually just the fact that he's actually moving vertically? How do you know? You don't. You're just fucking guessing. And so like whenever you play any of those shitty like Mugen games or whatever, any of those dumb things, you'll just notice like, oh yeah, like the character's like bouncing around like during the animations, like it's not even right. He's like offset, and of course like almost none of them are actually even at the right aspect ratio. I mean, actually you can even see it just looking at this because basically the Neo Geo's aspect ratio isn't the same as CPS2's, and so that's why the Final Fight characters actually look for shit, like look like shit in this because like they're a little bit too squatty because the aspect ratio isn't right. But of course, when I bring in the actual Samurai Showdown 2 character sprites, it'll look normal. So that's what I'm saying. So there's all that kind of stuff, like it, and like I'm saying, Samurai Showdown 2 is sacred to me. Like I love this game. I love basically everything about this game, other than the fact that it can't actually fucking use your normal hardware. And I will say this too. I mean, I kind of have a little bit of a chip on my shoulder because a part of me is really fucking irritated that I even had to do this. Like something just on some level really fucking bothers me that, like, why did I have to do this? Why wasn't this done commercially, professionally? Why couldn't I just say, oh, hey, I want to play Samurai Showdown 2. I can just go on Steam and pay $5 and get a version that works on like widescreen monitors. Like why isn't that? Why isn't that the case? Why are they so shitty and incompetent that basically all they can do is repackage emulators that somebody else wrote for free? It's really fucking pathetic, man. Like this shit should basically what I'm saying is I shouldn't have had to do this. This should have been done without me, and it is really fucking bothers me that if I don't do this, I'll fucking die, on my deathbed without having fucking seen Samurai Showdown 2 running at 21.9. That just, like I said, on some fundamental level, that just really fucking pisses me off. It was just so goddamn unnecessary. Like I shouldn't have had to fucking do this. But hey, that's the world that we live in. It's fucking Earth for you. But yeah, okay. Well, in any case, instead of rambling on, I guess I'm going to go back to work here. I am pretty worn out. Like I've really been like during the nights, I've really been upset. I've been dreaming about this game. I've been dreaming about how I'm going to do this shit. It's very important to me. This game means a lot to me. It's just a dream of mine. I had to see this. I had to see this game actually taking advantage of my current computer, using my hardware. I'm sick of looking at fucking pillar boxing. I'm sick of looking at goddamn black bars when I play Samurai Showdown 2. Oh yeah, just for giggles here. Let me go super ultra wide just so you can see it, because that is the funny thing. It's the same kind of Final Fight style insanity where you see how you can just infinitely tile the shit, and see how like the wave crashes are all actually calculated dynamically, and so like when it generates the level. That's actually what it's doing. It's actually figuring out how much space it has, depending on the size of the screen, and that's how it can determine like how many different waves that it has room for that it can create, and but there, like I said, there still are some like fundamental decisions to be made though. For example, like. I have to decide, so in the original game, basically the stages are all double the width of the Neo Geo's resolution. So the Neo Geo is 320 wide. And so the stages total were 640. And the way I have it right now is essentially I'm kind of doing the same thing where like I'm making the stage double whatever your actual native resolution is. But like on extreme cases like this, I mean it just makes the level so fucking, like there's just so much tiling and repetition because of how wide it is. I am strongly considering going a different route and capping the width of the stages to maybe like, your native resolution maybe like plus 320 or something, like fixing it like that. Just because it is kind of silly for in a game like this for the stages just to go on like infinitely like that. They don't really need to. Yeah. So, but that's something I got to think about. But I am kind of leaning towards that. I might actually do the level generation that way. But in any case, all right, I'm gonna stop rambling. Here you've seen it. There it is. It's an interesting curiosity, I guess. Holy fuck, that was a lot of work, man.